Hello guys, we are back. Today we are here with Scott Watson of Inspector Watson. I'm going to be asking a bunch of questions and hopefully Scott has the answers. I just bought a new home. Why do I need an inspection?
Yeah, if you're buying a home, it's very important to get an inspection, whether it's a new build or a used home, right? And the importance is that when you're buying this home, you're going through and you just see the outsource of the house. You don't have the time to go through and test everything.
Right.
So as we go through, we're going to test all those things, make sure they're working, so you don't end up with all these hidden, out-of-pocket expenses later.
Right. But the builder said the city inspector comes over and they check it, like it's certified by the city.
That's a great question. So specifically for new builds, when these come out is that there is a lot of inspections that go through on it. But, if you ever hear the term too many hands in the kitchen, right? It's not just the builder putting this together for them. It's all their different, partners that are putting this together, the electrician, the plumber, and sometimes, in those steps, those can just be missed.
Right.
And the city inspector, he's going out looking for specific things and code-related violations. We're in there for everything just down to basic operation. And also, sometimes, on a new build, it includes a little bit of cosmetic, even though that's not usually what's on an inspection, because we understand that these are things, understanding the standard of quality of work and their kind of warranty that they cover,
right,
is the importance to know you got the right inspector who can tell you, that's probably outside of standard and they would fix this for you.
Right. So something that I heard from an electrician many years ago was, so all we had to do to get something passed, we just went into a different house that already passed inspection, took pictures of the work there, submitted it to the inspector, and they just passed us. We didn't have to do anything extra.
That's very true as well, and sometimes this happens. There actually was an accepted law that was put in through it that if the same house that was built on the same block, a few houses down passed, that they could pass this house without even stepping in.
That sounds like smartphone manufacturing. If like a screen passes the batch test, everything passes.
That's right. And deficiencies come in packs. So sometimes we look for those deficiencies that you could have, for an example, a bubble in one of your doors. The doors in the house, they're hollow.
Right.
And so you could either have a big, indent or maybe a big bubble, and it could be just your house that this batch was shipped to.
Right. And that's scary. I mean, that's super scary. So another thing that I recently noticed is you're InterNACHI certified. You are part of InterNACHI. Do you mind explaining the significance of that?
That is, a great question on the importance of being able to go outside of the basic standard of what's required for the state.
Right.
So in Nevada, we do have our license that we get, and that is just kind of based for Nevada. And InterNACHI is an international association of certified home inspectors. So not only myself, but my whole team, we require this certification that we're certified InterNACHI inspectors, because they actually put us to a higher standard than that. There's additional testing that we have to take. There's also additional CE classes.
Oh, wow.
And they allow us to put that stamp on there, and it holds us to the quality standard, and you can look that up on what those are on InterNACHI.
Wow, that's really amazing. I believe there's a word for it. It's called integrity. InterNACHI basically means integrity. We care so much that we're willing to go above and beyond to make sure that our client has a certain peace of mind. And we're not going to do the bare minimum. We're going to do the bare maximum.
A well put thought, because the integrity is what you need there. When we're going to inspect a home, the buyers usually don't have the opportunity to attend the entire inspection.
Right.
And so they're just trusting that we're there going through this whole house. We have to have that integrity to be able to do everything with a checklist to that standard. And that's why it's so important that I teach in my business with all my inspectors, that we have a checklist that we do. So all the reports come out exactly the same.
Right.
To make sure we do check all the systems and they're not forgotten.
Wow.
And that integrity holds us to that, not only for the standard, as we talked about for Nevada, but also what InterNACHI requires, which is holding us to that next level of integrity.
Wow. And you guys started recently doing solar inspections and pool inspections. What does that really entail?
We wanted to make sure that we were a one-stop shop for buyers, because too many times we came across it that you're doing this inspection and the homeowner has additional questions or they need some more inspections, and it kind of puts it in your hands that you now have to try to know all these different specialties. You have to make some phone calls.
Oh, yeah.
And there's that short window of, in your due diligence period where you have to make all this happen. So we knew that it would make it easier not only for the agent, but for the clients if we could do it all.
Right.
But like the integrity, anything we do, we're going to hold it to that same standard level.
Right.
And so we included the solar inspections. We had that on. You can do a pool and spa inspection as an upgrade. If we see something that looks kind of fishy for mold, or just in general you have some concerns with air quality with your breathing, we can do air quality testing for the mold. And that allows us to provide that report, because even if it was just kind of called out, and maybe your uncle or your dad knew about these things and they could tell you, well, this isn't working. If it's not in some kind of report documented from a licensed person, it makes it really difficult for you to request for those repairs, or get any kind of money off of the house if these things are not working efficiently.
Right. So here's the question that I typically get asked is, how early can I involve an inspector? So they're about to break ground, they're about to pour concrete. When can we actually get you involved? When can we get you involved to see the framing, or if they did it right, if they did the concrete pour correctly?
So on new build inspections, we can actually do 3 different inspections. We can do it at pre-drywall. And so that's us coming out before they put up the drywall, that we can really look at like the guts of the home before that wall's on. It's really important because that's your only chance to do it.
Right.
Also, we're going to include a lot of extra pictures, because sometimes later you might want to know what's behind these walls before you start opening them up and doing some maybe modifications to your house.
Oh yeah, it's nice to know where the plumbing lines are and not cut into the gas.
Yes. And speaking of that plumbing line, to make sure you're not cutting into different pipes and things. Right. A requirement for the electrical wires for the plumbing pipes is that they need nail plates. Right. That are on, if your tubing's going through a stud, which is the main wood portion of the house holding it up, then they need a nail plate if it's too close to make sure that you're not going to accidentally put that in.
So what's really funny to me is I was looking to buy a home in Texas like about 6-7 years ago. And there was a builder that was like, oh yeah, we put wall plates and metal plates in the wall so you don't accidentally drill into like a electrical conduit or a gas line. And I'm like, congratulations on doing the bare minimum. Like, good job. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. Congratulations on being semi-code compliant. Exactly. Yeah, and those things, like you said, yeah, thank you for doing what's required. Well, what are we doing that's not? That's a little, an upgrade in the house. And there are some cool things, and so you can actually reach out to your, licensed inspector and kind of ask these questions. We're in a lot of these new build companies, and we've seen, kind of what they include, and all of them are a little different above that standard. Right. So let's talk about one of the most famous inspectors there is. You know who I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Mr. Cy Porter. I think what he's doing is really wonderful. I think he's bringing a lot of attention to builder defects. Some people don't agree with all of his methodology. Some people don't agree with everything. But you know what? The fact is, he is getting the message across. What is your thought on that? Like, I don't want to be controversial or anything. I don't want you to say something that you're not comfortable with saying. But do you agree with him that the standard of care for building has gone down by a tremendous amount? The fact that they're giving you cracked showers and tubs, and the windows just aren't built to the right standard anymore. I mean, I've definitely seen throughout my years of inspecting a roller coaster effect of quality for new builds. And sometimes it's just the availability of the product, right? During COVID, we had that where they just had to wait forever, and then they were just kind of grabbing what they could and scraps to install that way. And what he's inspecting is good, but he is putting on a show. Right. It's a social media show where he can put out these defects that he finds. A lot of the stuff are above standard. So if there's something particular, we recommend this, that if your client is really concerned about something particular in the house, that they can bring it up to the inspector, because maybe he can put an extra attention to that. Right. For an example, I saw in a video that he was up on a roof of a new build
moving tiles
Right.
and looking at underlaminate. Well, the underlaminate is important to look at. I'm hoping it's all intact on a brand new house.
Right.
During that pre-drywall, that's something we can actually look at. Those tiles aren't on there yet.
Right.
But you want to keep, in mind when you're looking at these kind of videos that most new builds won't even allow us to get on a roof.
Liability.
That's a liability, and it's in the contract. And they're allowed to put that in. They can't keep us from going in, but they can make it more difficult and put some restrictions.
Right.
But that's why we include, you want to make sure when you're talking with inspectors, if you're not in Nevada, you can't get us, that you reach out to an inspector and you know what they're providing for you. Because one of those is a drone roof inspection.
Right.
We include that for free.
Wow.
So you want to make sure also, do they include it? And does it cost any extra?
Right.
What's your final bottom line going to be to fully cover this house? So on new builds, we're not getting on the roof. They won't let us, at least in Nevada.
Okay. Fair.
And then, we're not sitting there and moving tiles.
No, of course. I mean, your job isn't to go through the drywall to inspect it. I mean, that's a little excessive.
Right. And that's why, again, that pre-drywall, we can look at those things.
Right.
So that is the only opportunity in your home purchase that we can get into.
What are your thoughts on thermal cameras to make sure drywall is actually done properly, and like the roof cavities, so in the living areas, hey, you didn't do enough, insulation, and I can see that there's a hot spot in this place.
Thermal is really important on inspections, not just on new builds, but even used homes. The infrared is going to allow us to look at so many things that the regular naked eye can't see.
Right.
Especially on 2-story homes to help look for leaks. On a new build, most of those leaks are kind of really fresh.
Right.
So you don't have any staining yet. You don't have any cracking yet. None of those telltale signs of a leak. So, without infrared imaging, thermal cameras during the inspection, an inspector wouldn't be able to find these things.
Right.
So that's another product we include for free. That's how important I found it was, because I didn't want them, an opportunity where someone would say no and then miss out. They don't know what they're missing out on. And also, besides a leak on a new build, we've even found buried registers, supply air, where they just put drywall right over it, and the infrared was able to pick up a clear picture of that square of the cooling and heating when we ran both heating and cooling.
And something that I know about builders is, unless you have that documented, they're not going to go in and fix it, because calling out a trade is going to cost them more money.
That's right. And it's important to be able to call out the right things and that it's documented, because even if you just thought, you're like, I think there should be a register here.
Right.
No, it's fine.
Right.
Let's look further into that and let's find out.
Is there anything that you want to, teach the public about, something that we didn't talk about, and hey, this is a very important thing that I think all homeowners should know?
I think the most important is again, what an inspector is going to inspect and what he includes. And that is that wow effect, right? You said the guy in Texas, we put nail plates in. Great.
Wow.
I inspect, your heating and cooling. Okay, right? That's on the standard, right? I hope so.
Yeah.
But it's what, extra you include for free. So what's that bottom line cost of fully inspecting this house? And what extra things does the inspector do that he is qualified to do in case we come across those things, or they just want extra knowledge on it.
Right.
So again, the mold inspections, sewer scope inspections, do they have the extra licensing to do that if it comes up, if I want it?
Wow. Well, that was very interesting. Scott, appreciate you. And if you guys have any questions for Scott, I'm going to leave his information below. And if we should do a part 2, let us know that too. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, let us know if you have any specific questions that we can go over. We could do that in a part 2. Maybe you're in a house, you're looking to buy a house. Your inspector is there to help you out. So you want to make sure, you find a great agent like Eric here that can help you, and he knows the partnerships to grow that are going to provide what you need for your inspection.
Bye for now.